Now, I'm sorry if I sound a bit peculiar at the minute. I am unfortunately suffering from a cold, but I'll struggled through it. Now, we all have the movies that we love, movies that are our personal favourites. Some that we may like, some others may like, some people may view them as bad, but we like them. But for all the bad movies I've seen, I don't necessarily think of them as bad. I mean, there are certain movies other people have ripped into, but I actually find pretty entertaining. I mean, I don't care much about the overuse of CGI. I think the 2011 Ryan Reynolds version of Green Lantern is a pretty entertaining film. I mean, while it is a pretty bad Batman movie, I view the 1997 version of Batman Robin as a fun little parody. I mean, they completely ruined Mr. Freeze, but I still view it as kind of fun. And they're trying to take it a little bit more seriously. I think Fantastic Four, the 2015 version, kind of succeeded in that. I don't think it's that bad. However, I don't view all movies this way. I mean, while I'll tend to usually forgive bad movies, there is one movie that's not necessarily bad, but nowadays I just view as boring. And unfortunately to say, it's one that I saw in theatres a couple of years ago, and I liked at the time, but nowadays I just look back at it and think, yeah, that's just really boring. The movie Zathura. Now, this movie came out in 2005, and I was about 8 years old at the time. And it's one of those movies that I'll say I was dragged to. Now, I know it might sound a little odd, but there are certain movies in my life that I have been dragged to. I mean, some of them I have come willingly, but they tend to fit into a realm of films that I didn't particularly have any interest in seeing at the time. Now, some of the movies that I've been dragged to I've actually fairly enjoyed, such as other versions that I've had include Stardust, Inkheart, and last year I was dragged to see The Martian, and that was a pretty good film. I really liked The Martian, but Zathura, at the time, as I said, at the time when it came out, I was 8 years old, and I came out of the theatre at the time thinking, okay, that was good. But nowadays, as I've gone through teenhood and eventually become a man, it really doesn't hold up. The basic premise of it: two brothers who don't get along find a kind of space version of a board game, and in playing it, it takes them into outer space with aliens, meteorites, astronauts, and general madness. And they have to play the game to the end in order to try and get home. So it's basically Jumanji. Ugh. I've never seen Jumanji, but apparently I've heard a lot about it. Now, as I said, at the time, around 8 years old, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was a fun thing to distract me for about 2 hours. But as I've got older, I really don't think it holds up. I just think it's boring now. I mean, like many bad movies, the ones I haven't got on DVD, if I scroll past them on the TV, if it's a bad movie that I tend to like, I'll stick around for it. I mean, like the 2004 version of Thunderbirds. I don't. It's one of the movies I put on my top 10 list of my favourites. And while I don't particularly own it, if I'm flicking through the channels and I come across it, I'll then stick around for it. It's fun. But Zathura, on the few times I have seen it on TV, I've just flicked right past it. Because, honestly, as I said, it was good at the time, but now that I'm older, the movie just seems dull. I mean, it's the kind of generic things, like the two brothers don't get along. There's one point where one of the brothers kind of wishes the other, or is prepared to wish that one of them would just leave him alone or wasn't around anymore. And of course, at the end of the movie, the They resolve their differences and learn to play nicely together in order to solve the game and get back home. But as I said, I liked the movie at the time, but I really don't anymore. I mean, to anyone who likes the movie, props, fair to you. Fair, props to you, fair enough. But for me, I just really don't think it works. There are some movies that are bad at the time and eventually get better with age. There's some movies that are so bad they're good. But this, to me, this is just a bad movie. I mean, no offense to the people who created it, but this one for me was just a miss, and I really don't recommend it. So that's the one movie that I personally do not like. I mean, or I wouldn't go so far as hate it, but no, it just, no. Anyway, see you later.